can start.
Hi.
Hi.
Alright. So please tell us about yourself.
Yeah. So my name's Jen. I'm 28 and I'm from the UK.
Alright. So please tell us, like, from the beginning when you start to think about the surgery and searching about it.
Yeah. So I looked initially at surgery in the UK, but it was obviously quite expensive. It's probably quite a few people's incentive to look abroad. Obviously, the price being quite a big factor. And my friend had mentioned about looking at surgeries abroad as well, because the skill level of the surgeons were the same, if not better. The level of care that you got was better, and obviously the price was much more affordable. So I found a website called What's Clinic and spoke to their advisors, contacted lots of different surgeries in Turkey and Poland predominantly, and I spoke with yourself in quite a lot of length. So I'd been thinking about the surgery probably for about 2 years, and it was about a year after doing all of my research and looking in the UK, I then contacted yourself, and that would have been around about February, and then I came out for the surgery in August. So obviously it was quite a lot of time to mull everything over, to speak to yourself about any concerns I had, do any more research I felt was necessary, until finally committing to coming out.
Alright. So what were you looking for when you made your decision?
In terms of the surgery, it was sort of just someone who was understanding and considerate towards yourself. I think naturally when you go abroad there's a bit of a stigma around you know, perhaps the incentive of the surgery that you're going to. Naturally you're going to be worried it's very intimidating, the surgery alone, let alone going abroad to have it done. So it had to be someone who was patient and considerate and caring, and out of all of the surgeries I spoke to, UK based and abroad, hands down this was the most considerate and caring one.
Thank you. Okay, so how would you describe the communication, the information you were provided with?
Really informative. The communication was amazing. I could message you anytime, day or night, regardless of the time difference, and you would respond so quickly. And even if it meant contacting Dr. Murat to get some advice from him, again, he was very, very quick with the response. And again, it was so much quicker than anyone in the UK, how they could have responded as well, which just helped to reassure me even more.
Okay, so what were you scared of before coming?
Mm-hmm.
What did you had in your mind? What did you expect it?
Well, I'd never had any major surgery before. I'd never been under anaesthetic, anything like that, never broken a bone. So in terms of the entire procedure, I had no idea what to expect anywhere, let alone my own country, let alone going abroad. As I mentioned earlier, I think there is a bit of a stigma when it comes to going abroad. Naturally, I think people are sort of more in their comfort zone in their own country. You know how the different governments and things like that, the different bits of legislation you have as protection. But ultimately, I think, you could go anywhere and you could have a negative experience or a positive experience. It's really down to where you are at the time. So yeah, I was really worried about what to expect in terms of the actual procedure itself. I think perhaps Dr. Murat and what he was capable of, finding out about that, and generally I think obviously we've spoken about this, but the reviews and how accurate they were and where they'd come from, the source of information, which is why I agreed to do this, because I thought people could just kind of see, it is trustworthy. You've got normal people like me coming out here and doing it too, so yeah.
And please tell me, from the moment you arrived, how was it?
Yeah, it was good. So I arrived a day earlier, which again you were really accommodating for. You were able to put me up in the hotel for an extra night. That was just to kind of give a bit of time, I think, for the dust to settle. because it felt a bit as though once I landed, I didn't want everything to run at 100 miles an hour. You just want a bit of time to process it and ground yourself. So that was nice. So I got to spend the day and kind of get my bearings around Istanbul, see a bit of Istanbul, which is a beautiful city. Other than that, then we went to the hospital on the day of the surgery, and we were able to answer all the questions and go through everything that was needed. I think everyone was just very educated, everyone was very aware of what you were going through and very understanding. There was no pressure, there wasn't a rush, but at the same time there wasn't the amount of time there for you to dither and worry in your head, if that makes sense, and build yourself up in a way that would be detrimental. Yeah, it was just a really positive experience as soon as I got here.
Right. So about the hospital and about the hotel.
So the hospital was really good. I had my own private room, which had enough space for me to be able to get up and start walking around after the surgery, which I think was really important. You really kindly put up Kyle as well, so he was able to stay with me, and that was amazing to be able to have him there and for you to accommodate for him to be there. The hotel was really clean, all the staff there were really knowledgeable, really friendly. There was a good level of English as well, which again was really reassuring that I could communicate to people. Yeah, again, really attentive and a good experience.
All right, so the day of the surgery, which is the most exciting, the most important part. When you met Dr. Murat.
Yeah.
Tell me please about it.
Yeah, so I met Dr. Murat and Ella. Both were really lovely, both really knowledgeable. I think Dr. Murat was very good at talking to you and understanding what you wanted to get from it and understanding what your concerns were. But at the same time, he didn't overload you with information you didn't need at the time. So it was a bit dealing with it step by step. So you dealt with what results you wanted to achieve. And then it was, we'll talk about aftercare, but we'll talk about aftercare when that's relevant. You don't need to have every bit of information right now because you're not going to remember it and you're not going to take it all in, which I think was a really sensible approach. But at the same time, if you wanted to ask those questions, he was more than willing to give you that information and take the time to sit with you and go through what you needed. I had some sort of concerns just before I went under surgery around the decisions I was making and just making sure they were right and they were going to achieve the end results that I was looking for, and the doctor was more than willing to come back and have a chat with me again and make sure to reassure me that it was right and I was making the right decision and go through my thought processes there.
So we can say that you went to the operation room with all of your questions and concerns answered.
Yeah, definitely.
And like 100% sure that you will be getting what you ask for.
Yeah.
Okay. So after the surgery, let's please talk about the aftercare.
Yep.
In the hospital.
I don't remember too much. It's sort of quite patchy on the first day. It's quite funny. So I remember little bits. The pain was quite a lot. Actually, the first day it wasn't too bad. It was the second day the pain was sort of more as your muscles start to settle. But again, and anything that I needed, I knew I could ask staff, ask yourself, the doctors and nurses there, and everyone was more than willing to accommodate. So that was really reassuring. Yeah, I was quite poorly after the anaesthetic, and again, there was everyone was very responsive with that. I was given anti-sickness medication straight away. It was like anything you needed, it was done straight away. There wasn't really any hesitation.
So after that, when you get discharged, you went back to the hotel. Like, how was the first 2 days after that?
I think they're probably the most difficult days. And again, this is what we've spoken about, it's the pain relief. So in the UK, they give very strong pain relief very quickly, and that can be quite detrimental, I think. So it was knowing yourself what your pain threshold is, being sensible around the medication, and again, you were very informative as to what I was being given. Obviously, when you receive drugs abroad, it's in a different language and you might not necessarily know what it was, but you're very good to translate, so I knew exactly what I was taking. And then from that, for example, the paracetamol dose, I knew what I was prescribed in the UK, and I could talk to you about that as well and make sure I was meeting the right dose and taking the right amount of pain relief to match what was needed.
So by today, which is like the third day after the surgery, how's the pain?
Do you know, like it sounds so strange, but I can brush my own hair, I can brush my teeth. I thought for about 2 weeks I would be knocked for 6, out for the count, but you know, like I can get up and down. It's just being mindful that you're not doing yourself any damage. The pain is more than manageable. You just feel a little bit stiff more than anything. I wouldn't say I'm in pain at all. Yeah, I'm mobile, I can sort of take care of myself and just be mindful not to do any damage really.
Right. And so you can say that the amount of days we ask you to stay in Istanbul, and you say that it would be enough for you to be ready to go back home.
Yeah.
Is it enough?
I think it's enough time for myself personally, but I did also find it a real big benefit having someone with me. So I think I would probably advise people, if they can and if it's okay with yourselves, to bring someone as support. It's moral support as much as it is physical support, but it's things like when in the very early days I couldn't dress myself, and I felt more comfortable having someone I know helping me get dressed or helping me brush my teeth or brush my hair, little things like that. It's just more comfortable. Someone who you can talk through your concerns with as well, and just bounce off your ideas and what's going on in your mind. And little things like when we do fly back home, I know that he'll be able to help me with my suitcase and things like that, which I might struggle with, not necessarily through pain, just because you're still a bit weak and you don't want to overstrain any area. So I found that really useful. But in terms of the stay, yeah, I think it's more than enough really.
All right. So please, tell me, if we think about the cost and the quality of service, do you think that it's expensive comparing to the quality of service, or it's a good price?
I think it's a really good price. So for the surgery, the same surgery back home, I was quoted about £7,000, which is just astronomical compared to what obviously I've paid over here. Yeah, like it's a bargain really for what you get. I think the level of care I received over here, the skill of Dr. Murat as well, compared to some surgeons in the UK, yeah, like 100%, it's so worth the money. And if I had the choice and I could go back, I would make the exact same decision. So I think that's the most important thing. If you can look back on it and say you've made the right choice, then that's a good result really.
So what would you advise people thinking about having surgery in Turkey or somewhere else?
I think do your research, 100% do your research. Take your time, make sure. One thing I found when I was on What Clinic is a lot of the surgeons were very pushy to try to get you to commit, and like I said, this is the one place that was not at all. You were so patient and willing to answer any question. I was worried obviously about all sorts of different things, and you were able to answer all of those questions and just give me the time and space I needed to make the decision in my own time. It's just being confident in yourself to take the time that you need. Don't let someone push you into it. Educate yourself on what you're having done, and just make sure that you're picking a clinic that clearly cares, because I think that's what was so beneficial, is that I know that you guys have a genuine care for my well-being, and that's just so reassuring in the long run, because you know, if I need anything, even when I'm back in the UK, if I've got any concerns, I'm comfortable to contact you, and I think that's really essential in order to get what you want from the surgery.
Right. So please tell me more about Dr. Murat. How would you describe him?
He's very confident in what he does, which is brilliant. He will come in and he'll talk to you, and he'll very quickly gauge an understanding of what you are looking for, what your concerns are, and he'll be very quick and assertive almost in putting your mind at rest and making sure you're getting what you would like from it. From what I can see, obviously it's still early days in the surgery, from what I can see he's really skilled. I was really impressed at how tidy a job it was, which might sound quite strange to say. but yeah, like I'm really happy so far with the results. And I'm a really critical person of myself, so I think that says a lot. Like, I mean, 9 times out of 10 I'll go and get my hair cut and I'll cry about it. So, but I'm really happy with the result of the surgery. He knows what he's doing, he's good at what he does, and he's really knowledgeable. So yeah, I couldn't recommend him any higher.
Thank you. So out of 10?
10, 100%. Even my friends, it's quite funny, I've spoken to my friends and other people who have considered surgery, and they would now even consider coming here, because I honestly, I can't recommend it enough. Like, it was just such a positive experience for something I was so terrified about. And I think that's the thing that I would definitely want to get across, is that, you know, I'm a normal girl, I come from a normal life, and I was terrified. Anyone would be terrified. I had all the concerns in my head around the stigma, what if it goes wrong, you know, all the what ifs possible. And I managed to go through with it, and I'm really happy that I did. And like I said, if I had the choice again, I would still go through with it.
And we were very happy to meet you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
And would you like to add anything else? Would you like to?
I don't think so, no. It's just, I hope people take from this what they can, and it helps put some people's mind at rest about any concerns they have around the surgery. I know the review that I watched before really helped put my mind at rest, because it makes it more human when you can see someone who's gone through it. It just brings it home a little bit more, and it just reassures you a little bit more. So I hope it helps some people with their decisions.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.